Today we're going to be talking about a G.I. Joe with an amazing code name because it also is his real name. So today we're going to be unboxing G.I. Joe Classified Series number 133, Albert Pine, also known as Alpine. Alpine is the mountain climber of the G.I. Joe team, and this is a really well done figure. And when we look at him in the G.I. Joe Classified series, we can see that there were some updates, but it retains a lot of what made the original Alpine really cool. So we can see that he is much more geared to being a mountain climber. But first, let's pull out some of the details. So underneath his jacket, we see an Idaho t-shirt, which I think is a really cool addition. The original one just had a plain white t-shirt. This adds just a little extra element to give him some interest. We've got the classic hat as well as the goggles. Now these goggles, these are independent of the hat and you can remove them if you want, but I don't think you can have Alpine without the goggles. It is just a classic look. I do like how they wrap around his entire head so that they don't look strange and that they have to sit on his ears, which never really works well. I just got done reviewing Leatherneck where I was really on the fence about that. I like the goggle situation. And we also see his gear around his belt. We see all these carabiners, and in the back we have like a pouch of some kind that I'm guessing is for more equipment. But overall, like, really impressed with the early impressions of this figure. I think that there is a lot to like about him. The way that the jacket does fold open a little bit is going to give us a little more articulation, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, that is some decent articulation for a figure who's got such a heavy jacket. It's not going to work the reverse direction just because of the way that the coattails and then this pouch on the back sits. But overall, like, very impressed by how the updates for Alpine have gone. As you see, I've loaded him up already with a few of his accessories. He has this harpoon gun that would essentially, or at least in my head, this would fire up a mountain and he would be able to pull himself up on it. We also have these climbing picks. He doesn't have just one, he's got another. And while they do look the same, there is some visual difference between the two. This one has like a green wrap, this one doesn't. So you're getting some visual interest. Like, it's not just like a clone stamp of these two. There is just a little extra something so that you know which hand is which. Really impressed by some of the details here. And there are little claws on the back. I don't know if you can see that, but it feels like those should hook somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I don't know if they do, but it's just a fun little detail. He's got two more accessories. This one is your wrapped ninja rope that you'd throw and you'd climb, you know, again in my head. But his weapon, his main weapon, his assault rifle, I've got some issues with this thing. So it looks pretty good. You know, it looks pretty good from this side, but when we turn it this way, I don't know how many magazines can work like this, but this came warped out of the package. This is something that I'll have to heat up or maybe flatten to try to get to work better, because as of now, it doesn't really seat well into the weapon and the magazine will fall out. I don't think I'm going to display him with this at all, and if we look at it this way too, we can see that there is a bend. You know, I haven't seen an issue like this in a G.I. Joe figure for a while. It's just unfortunate this is coming back, at least for Alpine. The one accessory that you might think that I have, that I don't, which I feel like is a really big miss for Alpine, is a backpack. He doesn't come with a backpack, which is... He's a mountain climber. You would think he's got a backpack. So yeah, he has a peg for a backpack, but he does not come with a backpack. I probably would have liked to have seen no machine gun, just gone with this harpoon thing, and add a backpack. Even just a standard stock backpack. But I do have a backpack that I kind of want to try out from Leatherneck that I'm not displaying Leatherneck with the backpack. So let me grab that. Let's see if it works for Alpine. So here we go. This is Leatherneck's backpack, and I'm just going to pop it into Alpine here. I'll see if this works. Yeah, so that kind of finishes off the look a whole lot better. It really does. Alpine should have came with a backpack. I don't know what got missed there, but it feels like kind of a miss that our mountain climber wouldn't have the necessary gear to go up a mountain, have some extra supplies on him. And this actually fits, this fits better than it does on Leatherneck. I'm thinking because the back kind of got drilled out a little better. But also, if it is floating, what we are noticing is that the float is helped by the rope. And it actually keeps the rope in place a little better that's around his shoulder when you slot in the backpack. So, I don't know. Do I display Alpine with Leatherneck's backpack? Typically, I like having figures with their original accessories. But with Alpine missing that backpack, and this looking so good with it, I might have to break that rule a little bit, but maybe you can help me out. Leave a comment in the comment section below telling me if I should display Alpine with Leathernecks backpack or not. We've gone over the accessories, and we've gone over the accessories that don't exist. But how does this guy move? He is a mountain climber. He should have good mobility. You would want somebody who's nimble, somebody with a lot of agility climbing a mountain. So does Alpine fit that? Let's take a look. So his head, it is rather limited. There is some wobble, but it isn't great. For a mountain climber, just kind of like a flight-based character, I would like somebody to be able to look up. You would want to see where the rocks are, where you're putting your hands. Helps tell that story. A little stiff on the second stage of the double jointed elbows, but that is a good range of motion. What we're not getting is a butterfly joint. Or if there is a butterfly joint, let me look if there's a butterfly joint. Hang on. There's one technically cut in, but it's not working at all, or at least it's not like moving. We don't have a lot of range with the arms going forward, going back. Not that I have a mountain anywhere that I can pose this guy, but it's just the thought. It's just the ability that the character should be able to take. That is something that I feel like is missing with Alpine. But the jacket's got style. I love the jacket. I would wear a jacket like that if I had one. That is a cool jacket. We do have some of the crunch forward. We do not have some of the crunch backwards, as we talked about earlier, but he can swivel. He can swivel around, and his arms will go, let's see, how far will these go up? Oh, they don't go all that far up, do they? So I don't think we can do a full T-pose. When we do the legs, we will bend them up. That is a good range of motion for the double jointed knees. Boot swivel, we got a rock on the ankles there. I'd say the lower half of this figure works a whole lot better than the upper half. The issue that I'm having here is that on the thigh, like the upper thigh, we're getting some issues with the harness kind of coming underneath. I don't know why it's only happening on the one side. It's not like the drop hip is activated or anything like that. So everything from the belt up, a little limited. I mean, we do have the double jointed elbows, but everything that kind of goes with it, we're limited. And then everything on the lower half, I would say is good. It's fine. There's nothing like outstanding about it, but there's nothing that I would say is like, why did they do it that way? Not for the lower half. But I'm gonna need some more time with this figure. I'm gonna pose him up, put him in some cool poses, and we'll talk about my overall thoughts. When it comes to Alpine, again, coolest code name compared to his real name because it's literally the same. Hilariously fantastic, just little detail there. I think there's ultimately a push and pull with this figure. He looks fantastic. I love the details in the jacket. I love the accessory details when it all pertains to the mountain climbing nature of Alpine. Something like his assault rifle just doesn't work with this character. This could have been left off. And, you know, I think that's highlighted by the fact that it was warped in the package. I didn't see really any value of giving Alpine a giant assault rifle. And he has like a very unique, a very specialized specialty. So the details are all working in his favor when it's pushing forward towards the whole mountain climbing aspect of the figure. And I think some of the modern classified updates really work. That not only push the character forward, but retain some of the classic look and feel. I think that is a delicate balance, and sometimes it works really well, in Alpine's case, and sometimes like it just feels okay, like in Leatherneck's case, which I recently reviewed. But if we're looking for these figures to tell a story about their specialty, there is some issue with Alpine, and namely it's the articulation in the upper half of the figure. We don't have a lot of neck mobility, we don't have a lot of arm mobility, which are two things that you would want for somebody climbing rocks. For whatever reason, I can't help but really like the overall package of it. It's definitely more good than there is bad with this figure, and I think Alpine serves as a really good example of a G.I. Joe figure done right. So if you look at him, he is like a green army man. He's got the green coat, he's got the green fatigues all around him. But it's not really standard issue, and it also reflects the nature of the character. Somebody who likes to climb mountains. We've got leather patches so that he's not scuffing up his forearms and stuff like that. I could go over the details of this figure a lot, even down to like the zipper on his coat, which I don't know, like, whoever thought to put the zipper on his coat and then actually get that put in molded in plastic, that was really cool. And all of these carabiners hanging off of his belt that have that touch of paint on it, it just looks really good. I like what Alpine is doing here. I just wish that some of the articulation would have been better to make this an absolutely standout can't miss figure. I still think that this is one to get, but those are some of the issues that I just felt like I had to pass along. And in terms of like overall stuff when it comes to G.I. Joe Classified Series, the hat as well as the goggles really work well for the character. They work independently of each other, so if you don't want to have either of them for whatever reason, but you gotta have the goggles on Alpine though, really. Like, is it Alpine if he doesn't have goggles? It might even be just like a brand new character if he doesn't have the goggles. And yeah, problems, but I can overlook them because so much else is done so well here. Let me know what you think of Alpine if you've gotten your hands on him or if you are planning on getting him in the future. And if you like our discussion on Alpine or G.I. Joe Classified figures in general, well, I talk a lot about them, action figures, pop culture, collectibles, as well as blasters, anything action related. I would love it if you hit the subscribe button for the Ri-Fi channel so that you can get more videos like this in the future, because I really think you're going to like some of the stuff that I have coming out. But for now, that's all I know about Albert Pine. Alpine. I love that. From the G.I. Joe Classified series, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.